Well, I'm back. Um, I'm in the last remaining verses of Luke chapter 20. Jesus was speaking to the disciples, and, back up in verse 39, the scribes was somewhat talking to him, and they was throwing out some questions. If you want to go and read up there in verse 39 down to 45, you can. But I want to pick up at verse 46. If I had these last two verses is what I'm focusing on tonight. Jesus said this to his disciples, and he's basically given a warning to them. They're listening to a warning to the disciples. He starts out, beware of the scribes. Beware of the scribes. Now, I didn't look up the word scribe. It's a lot like the word Pharisees. The Bible talks a lot about the scribes and the Pharisees. Well, Jesus is telling the disciples, beware of the scribes. He's warning the disciples. A scribe is someone that is a professional religious person. What I would call a professional religious person. A scribe is someone that is trying to pull the wool over someone's head. A scribe is not necessarily a Christian. A scribe is someone that is like playing a role like an actor. Lauren Green was an actor on the TV show Bonanza. But he could have actually pretended that he was Ben Cartwright, because he played the role of Ben Cartwright. But he knew that he wasn't, that was just a role that he was playing. Well, that's basically what a scribe is. Now, other people will no doubt go and say, well, Ken, you need to be a little more direct than what a real scribe is. Well, a scribe would be, another name for scribes would be someone that would be like a writer of the Bible. And back then, they would have people that were scribes that would actually write down the words of Scripture, but that didn't mean that they had understanding of the Spirit. They was told basically what to write down, and a scribe is someone that, pins down. But see, back in Bible days, they didn't have a printing press. They had to have someone to write down the words. And if you look at a foreign language today, to look at a foreign language would be just, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it would be like me trying to read Japanese. And every little twitch of every little, I have a hard enough time today signing my name. I literally have to do it slowly to be able to make it where my name looks halfway decent. And if I had to write a foreign language, they ain't no telling what that word would say when I got done with it. It'd probably end up being a foul language. It would probably be a cuss word, knowing me, because I don't know anything but English. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know anything. But when Jesus said, beware of the scribes, they are religious, because notice in the next line, which desire to walk in long robes. Now, there's a lot of people that will tell you that, I can't preach without me being in a suit. Well, I think that's a cop-out. I realize that a lot of people, they like the dress and they like the robes and they like the high places of the synagogue and they like the esteem of people and all of this. And it might even go and get into that and love greetings in the markets. A pastor of a big church, when you go into Winn-Dixie or you go into Walmart and you happen to see someone that is there, you just always sort of want to go up and shake their hand and make them feel proud and all of this. I'll be honest with you. I don't really care what people think about me. I don't wait for someone to greet me. I mean, I'm nothing, and I know that. But what Jesus was saying right here, beware of the scribes which desire to walk in long robes. A robe is somebody for the clergy. A lot of people that wear a robe would be somebody like, just for example, somebody in the Catholic Church the priest, I think, wears a robe of some kind. That's what they've always done. You got other people that dresses to the hilt in a suit and tie. Today, you got a lot of people that don't dress up when they preach the gospel. When they go in there, it's more like a club. They go in there with tennis shoes and a jersey from FSU or from the Florida Gators or Alabama or somebody like that. They go in there just looking like a pure downright bum. I mean, I go to the nursing home, I wear my regular shirt and I wear my jeans, and I don't go in there trying to put on no show for them. That's what I've always wore. I've always wore the simple thing. I never got dressed up for them. I think there was one time I remember going up there in a suit because I had to do a funeral and I didn't have time to go and change. And I'll be honest with you, it sort of scared the people because they ain't never seen me dress up before. But what Jesus is saying right here, the scribes is professional religious people. But it didn't mean that they're saved. Listen on. And love greetings in the markets and the high seats in the synagogues. The high seats of praise. And Jesus sure didn't come into this world in a grand hotel. Jesus could have entered into the best of what money could buy. But God set it up that he would be born in a manger. See, it goes to show you that it's not about the high places. It's not about the synagogues and the chief rooms at feast. You know, a lot of people that preach the gospel want to be recognized. I mean, honestly, clothes is one thing, but take somebody that really don't know the Lord. The only time they'll mention the Lord is on Sunday morning. You don't ever see them writing anything on Facebook. You never see them posting Bible verses. You never see them write anything about God. You almost have to wonder, what are they saying to the world? What are they saying to the world, you know? And then it says, listen to the trait that they do here, which devour widows' houses. How do you devour a widow's house? You put a guilt trip on them to give you money. I don't have nobody. Well, I'll take that back. I got one dear lady that has sent me money, and I try my level best to get that dog to hunt in another field. I even tried my best to tell her that, ma'am, I'm not a church. But she wanted to bless me with an offering. Now, personally, I'm not a church. But see, this verse says, which devour widows' houses. I don't want to devour her house. I wouldn't do that to her. If she fell, let me say it this way, if she fell on hard times tomorrow, I would be glad to mail her back every nickel of that money. Because it's not that I don't have the money to give her back. But see, Jesus is saying here, this is the evidence of the scribe, which devour widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. Now, let me tell you something. When I go to nursing home, there's times I will remember to open it up in prayer. And sometimes I forget to open it up in prayer. But Jesus is saying here, and for show, make long prayers. You know, I'm conscious of what I say when I pray, or I try to be. I don't go on and on and on like I'm anything. But I do pray in front of the people at the nursing home. And if somebody calls on me to pray in church, I will hopefully say words that adds to the service. I mean, I'm not trying to write down words and keep going and going and going. That's just not me. But see, here's the thing. The people that devour widows' houses and make long prayers, notice the last sentence of that verse. The same shall receive greater damnation. Now, is it because they took the widow's houses, meaning the income of the widow's house, and making long prayers in the synagogue when they're not saved? See, a scribe is somebody that is a professional religious person. Religious people pray all the time. It doesn't mean that they're saved. It doesn't mean that they're born again. It just simply means that they've got the ability to pray. But notice that last line, the same maybe will receive a greater damnation. Is that what the Bible says? No. That's not what my Bible says. The same shall receive greater damnation. If I took that lady's money and I'm not who I'm supposed to be, then I have basically robbed myself in front of God. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But see, this is who the scribes is, which desire to walk in long robes, but yet they're empty in their heart, and love greetings in the markets, but yet they're empty in their testimony, and the high seats in the synagogue, all because the church is paying them $100,000 a year salary to be in the pulpit of the church, and the chief rooms at feast. Yeah. People like to be esteemed. They love being esteemed. And then, which devour widows' houses, that's telling you that some people are a thief. Now, it's not saying that it's a thief, but that's assuming what it's saying right here. And for show, make long prayers. Yeah, they got to put on a good act, because that cuts into the dollar bills if you don't put on a good enough act. You got to deliver something. You got to be a little passionate on Sunday. You got to sort of raise your voice a little bit and talk in a dynamic way. You might even have to scream a little bit and get where you get spit rolling down the side of your chin. But then it says, the same shall receive greater damnation. I don't want damnation. If I ever get another dime, I don't want damnation. It ain't worth it to me. I come out here and I'll spill my guts, and I'll just try to be me. I'd rather have my ministry and stand before God and be sincere and in love with Jesus, instead of worrying about what my tithe and what my offering is going to be and what somebody's going to give to me. I'd rather be the giver to give back to others rather than someone to give to me. And I believe that blesses God. So these two verses here, are you a scribe? Do you make yourself available in long robes? Now, I realize that was what was done in Bible days. I agree with that. But it's done today too. The ones that wear the robe in the church service, they're walking in long robes. They love greetings in the markets. Doesn't mean they're saved. The high seats in the synagogue doesn't mean that they're saved. And the chief rooms at feast, that doesn't mean that they're saved. They can devour widows' houses, and it doesn't mean that they're saved. And for show, make long prayers, and it doesn't mean that you're saved. And ultimately, you end up with greater damnation. That's sad. It really is sad. Elderly ministry is how you get me on YouTube. If you decide you want to go to YouTube, you can get me there. If you want to go to elderlyministry.com, that's the website. You can get me there. There's a phone number. There's an email. You can get me there. anytime. Anytime I can help, you can call. Thank y'all for watching.